Welcome back, one and all, to another coin rating video here on the Culture of Currency. Today, as the thumbnail suggests, we are going to tackle another classic in American silver coinage. We are, of course, talking about the peace dollar. More particularly, we are talking about my peace dollar as we place it on our 60-point scale. In order to value your time, I wanted to briefly touch history and not repeat the same things that countless videos already have on this particular coin. I want to convey why I have one and if I think you should consider one or many of these for your collection. I would like to start with why this coin is valuable to me. If you've watched my channel, then you probably already know that this is the coin that started it all. This coin was a gift from my grandmother as a child. We would spend countless hours going through stamps and coins for our collections, and this was my first memorable silver dollar. It was what started my collection and holds strong value in my memories, but does it have value to the average person? That is what we have to figure out. But first, please take time in the comments below to tell me what coin for you was either your first coin or the coin that forever changed the way you looked at currency. Please let me know. It always delights me to read those comments. So, as you see here, we have a 1923 peace dollar. A couple of items I wanted to say about this coin is that I always considered this a peace dollar as a kid because I recognized that the eagle was at rest. I'm not sure if that's why it's a peace dollar or if it's because it was minted in a time of peace or maybe both. I really enjoyed the uniqueness of this coin because the eagle is at rest and so many others are in flight. This eagle also kind of represents more of a Teddy Roosevelt quality by mirroring the classic Roosevelt line, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." As we can see in this image, yeah, I might be perched, but don't ruffle these feathers. It is a classic design that always gave me an Art Deco vibe, which is also one of my favorite eras in car design, just a fun fact. Mine has no mint mark, which to my knowledge means that it was minted in Philadelphia, so what did this coin see in the world when it was struck? 1923 was not the most eventful year, as most of the world was still getting their effects in order after the various treaties and terms that ended World War I. This is before the Great Depression and a time of dark and light themes for America. On the dark side of 1923 America, we saw the Rosewood Massacre in Florida. We saw a Supreme Court that ruled against a Punjabi Indian for becoming a citizen due to not being white, and the Democrat KKK refusing orders to publish a list of its members. Looking back, it brings me such pride to know of who we were as a nation is not who we are, and to my knowledge there's no other nation that has done more for the rights of individuals than the US, but that's another topic for a different video and a different channel. On the good side of the US in 1923, we had the first publication of Time magazine, the Yankees opened their stadium in the Bronx, the boardwalk at Coney Island opened, and Warner Brothers banded into the mogul we know today. These are just a couple of things, but this is also a year that the iconic Hollywood sign was inaugurated. As you can see, on the good side of the coin, the entertainment sector was booming, as well as the push against prohibition, leading to one of the strongest themes of the time known as the Roaring Twenties. This period is filled with the theme of Art Deco architecture and grandeur on every scale. Chicago, LA, and New York were the main hubs in the States for this cultural movement, but the effects were felt around the world. This was a time where the US was becoming the economic powerhouse of the world, and with the advancements of the automotive industry and infrastructural improvements, the nation's newly growing middle class was more free to enjoy the entertainment sector that was blossoming in the US. Automobiles, moving pictures, radio, and jazz were all the rage until the market crash of 1929, which is also a topic for another video. Now that you have an understanding of what America was like when this coin was minted, we can accurately rate it on our 60-point scale. On the front of the coin, we have a beautiful Liberty with a thin spindled crown. Though she is classical in her depiction, the thin spindles remind me more of the Art Deco movement and always has reminded me of one of the greatest examples of Art Deco architecture, the Chrysler Building. This is one of the icons of all coins and a true beauty. It gets a perfect 10. When we look at the back, we have, as mentioned before, the noble eagle at rest atop Peace Rock. We notice the oak is still in her grip, but the arrows have been discarded. Once again, we are met by the thin Art Deco spindles as the sun rays cascading in the background. This is one of the best backs of coins in the history of silver coins in my opinion, and it scores a solid 10 as well. Mintage is our next category. It is hard to rate mintage in the same way we do nowadays because there was no such thing as a collector market or limited mintage or anything like that. We were on this standard of print what we actually have in, let's say, gold and silver commodities in the bank. The only thing I can do for mintage, therefore, is score a neutral 5 even though there are 30 million minted. In those days you just mint what you actually had in reserves, and we all know how much we miss those days. Now we get to cultural significance. There is really not a better example of cultural significance in American coins than the older silver dollars. They represented so much in their fit and finish. For example, the Morgan dollar is easily a different class of artwork, just like the minted years were culturally different. This is an Art Deco coin for an Art Deco time. It represents liberty, peace, strength, and hope in a time in America where many of those themes were still on the battlefield. This also scores a perfect 10. Collectability is our next area. Any silver coin, be it a Morgan, Barber, or this, are collectible as constitutional silver, let alone just by the beauty. Is it the most collectible coin? Probably not, but I still think it is highly collectible, just the fact that it is a beautiful representation of constitutional silver and therefore earns a respectable 8. Our last area is uniqueness. A coin with liberty and an eagle does not ring of unique, but when you think of an American silver dollar often having an eagle and a liberty, and the Morgan is different from this piece, which is different than, let's say, the Mercanti silver eagle, then it is a little bit more unique. I will say that this is a coin where the images did not change each minted year, so the uniqueness does suffer a little bit there. So it does score a 7. This brings our total score to a 50 out of 60, meaning that this Liberty is in fact an elite level coin and gets my highest recommendation for each of you to add this to your collection. It is at its core at least a great example and one of the only examples of period Art Deco style on a coin. So take it or leave it. The piece dollar is one of the staples of American coinage and is still available, so get at least one of these, if not 1,000, for your collection. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, please stay classy and current with the culture of currency.